We've long considered weather a force that lives by its own rules. The clouds gathering in the sky, the wind blowing from the hills, the rain falling on the land. We're all seen as the will of a god, the ways of the earth. But as the glaciers melt and we see lakes run dry, as deserts are creeping ahead, it becomes increasingly difficult to distinguish what is caused by nature and what are we causing ourselves.
Today na ba ko mera sen mera na mali today ba ora lari na today ora lamme na today rasda na ba na nagara me jiru na rara.
Ha cambiado el tiempo mucho y ya no es como antes.
Over the past 100 years, the increase in human population has been 3 times greater than during the entire prior history of mankind. More natural resources have been extracted from the earth and more land converted for cities, agriculture and industry than ever before. On this warming planet, droughts seem to have changed their nature as well, increasing in duration, frequency and severity.
There were people in our area, a friend of mine, he didn't make it through the drought. He took his own life. The psychological effects were too much for him.
The people that can afford to use and abuse water are generally the rich.
We really have to think different in terms of how we manage our water.
Our planet will suffer a global crisis, the most devastating one humankind has ever faced.
Spain has been hit twice by extreme weather, a heat wave and the worst drought in decades.
Acute water shortages are worsening problems.
We are in desperate need for rain, and with parts of our state now under emergency declarations.
Under armed guard, this is the main source of drinking water for thousands of people in Madhya Pradesh.
Leaving ships marooned in this newly created desert.
Environmental experts say weather is a small part of the problem. They blame years of government mismanagement for the man-made water crisis.
How can we actively engage with the causes and adversities of droughts on a planet more radically altered by humans than ever before? From the highest mountains, across savannas, lowlands and cities, all the way to the coast, we will journey along with researchers, nomads and farmers to better understand what's causing droughts in the Anthropocene and how to confront the risks and challenges they bring. Professor Fernandez Jesus Hardenas is out in the field with 2 of his students, hearing about one of the recent droughts in Bolivia and seeing the effects with their own eyes.
Buen día, buenas tardes.
Buenas tardes. Buenas tardes.
Hermano Francisco. Hermano Francisco.
Buenas tardes.
En estos últimos años, ¿cómo ha cambiado la tierra? ¿Ves algún cambio desde que eras niño hasta ahora? ¿Qué cambios ves en la tierra?
Ya pasaka ni bada kaho ulay para aling artista para kunang kamana para nyacho kah ya kupis mayu taka astar sa mayu ya ko astar kah kunamakan sa ya ko mana para nyacho artista ceman kay anyo wes kalau chakiga pumana kancho mapokon chaltuman.
¿Cómo ha cambiado las lluvias ahora como era antes? ¿Usted ve algún cambio en las lluvias, heladas, los granizos? ¿Eso me puede contar?
Ya, yo veo mucho cambio ahora. Antes la clima era mucho más mejor. Digamos, la lluvia normal, pero ahora ha cambiado, ¿no? Con estas sequías, no sé por qué, pero ha cambiado la clima.
Ante años pasados se ha secado el lago. Antes había un hondo lago. Hasta allá arriba era agua. Ahora no hay. Temporal nomás es. Pescamos cuando hay lago. Cuando se seca no hay nada. Pues, no, pues, antes era desaguadero, venía pues. Pero ahora hay ese regantes que es ataja. Pues. Antes no había ese regantes. Ahí consume agua. Más o menos el mina Guanuni, que es siempre entre de Machacamarca, por ahí. Los medio hambrientos hemos dicho, pero no nos hace valer. Sigue entrando.
Climate change, tin mining and upstream water diversion for industrial agriculture have caused an almost complete disappearance of Bolivia's second largest water body, Lake Poopó, reducing it to about 2% of its original size. Due 300 kilometers north, at about the same altitude as the lake, sits La Paz at 3,640 meters above sea level. Yet the environmental damage on its even higher surrounds has still made it the downstream recipient of harsh environmental changes.
Junto a las nubes y a pocos kilómetros de La Paz, se levanta el panorama idílico de Chacaltaya, la pista de esquí más alta del mundo. La cabaña construida allí por el Club Andino Boliviano ofrece cómodo asilo a los incontables turistas y deportistas que llegan hasta ella.
En los años 1950, 1960, esta área era bien conocida porque acá teníamos glaciares, en el cual mucha gente venía a concursos internacionales de esquí. Varias investigaciones donde se daba un pronóstico de que el glaciar se iba a descongelar, pero muchos investigadores no pensaban que la degradación de los glaciares iba a ser muy rápido. Nosotros pensábamos que este cambio iba a ser quizás en unos 30, quizás 20 años, pero lastimosamente esto ocurrió en 10 años, muy rápido. Lastimosamente, nosotros que trabajamos acá hemos visto este efecto. Como no teníamos agua, el departamento de La Paz ha sido azotado por una sequía, la cual afectó a muchas zonas de la ciudad de La Paz. Un gran problema, y esto ha sido por el cambio climático y porque lastimosamente la gente no tenía la cultura de conservar el agua.
In viewing distance of the vanished glacier, La Paz, one of the fastest growing cities in South America, now struggles with a situation where the year-round flow of water from the ice masses has ebbed. The city's reservoirs now frequently reach critically low levels.
Bolivia's government has declared a national emergency because of a water shortage as it suffers the worst drought in 25
The
years.
Inca Chaca reservoir, which serves La Paz, has been reduced to less than 10% of its capacity.
Authorities have rationed the water supply.
Es decir, el fenómeno de sequía que afectó la disponibilidad de agua en la ciudad, en el área metropolitana de La Paz hace año y medio, quizás ha sido el escenario de más crítico de los últimos años respecto al tema de disponibilidad de agua para el consumo humano.
The rain, when it comes, is not enough to alleviate the worst drought anyone here can remember.
There's no water.
We've been waiting, asking those who have water to give us some.
Emergency measures are in place to get water to those in need, but it's sometimes not enough, and many are forced to find it where they can.
Nene hankai, ore rikejek, na nyeudogu nurikejek kuna kunuji, neu kunjo kala keje ne malaka di ne malaka de neu ruana hankai nene hegi be hegi lodonyo. Neu etianya wali enkop tenkaraki ne mehete hankai ya hegi iltung'anak. Neu nasira iltung'anak alameyu, neu eetai shida tasai pookin.
The snows of Kilimanjaro have almost disappeared. The land surrounding Africa's tallest mountain is severely deforested and barren, often grazed down to the naked soil. In a desperate attempt to make ends meet, many of the once proud and well-adapted tribes of Kilimanjaro are now further increasing the degradation of their own environment. The expansion of farming fields by the Chaga people and the overgrazing of the Maasai pastoralists are turning the slopes of East Africa's greatest water tower more and more into infertile land. When the cows look like skeletons, transactions at the local markets also die down.
Aji Daudi Mutri. Asito hiyo na biharani onkishu. Na yelo namali ne ke mari onkishu ke garara na gara nyanga ngishu nkojit tangara gi alame yorodo.
To make matters worse, wildlife conflicts continue to escalate as herders enter the adjacent Amboseli National Park to forage, and elephants now wander farther and farther outside of the park's boundaries in their own desperate quest for water and food.
Nelia josabu na nyamalita na arna imarita ila arrabalamo eana inewi entabilia seti nkujit nikijo naa kireu nkishu nepuoi apuo aibung nkishu. Neeku naa taata yiolo naa tina rishata nelio ajo kiimarita enyamali sapuk tanakata tina rishata tenkaraki esiai oonkishu ong'uesi neeku naa taata kidolta ajo eninepu ewuei nitengakaki inewuei entabilia tenkaraki pee mishori nkishu metijing'a peeku ewuei oong'uesi inewuei amu mitushuli nkishu oltung'anak. Neeku kadolta ajo kiimarita olarrabal sapuk oleng'.
Kumok nkarin enakop naleng' amu maadoru apa ilameitin enaa kulo. Neeku neetuo aadoru. Ore apa inakata nemeoki kule, meoki enkurma, kule ake eoki, nenyai nkiri.
There were so many trees in Amboseli. So the climate of Amboseli is completely different from the past.
And when the rain finally comes, it is often a torrential downpour, much heavier than before. Flash floods wash away the precious topsoil that is no longer protected by intact vegetation cover.
You can look here, the difference of here, the soil is completely out because it was washed away by water. And on this side here, so it means that the soil was at this level. So 20 centimeters and the soil is lost here for about 9 years. So it's a lot of soil lost here. So I can see under the root of a tree.
The impacts of droughts have become so severe that at times, food aid needs to be distributed by the Red Cross. Kenya ambitiously aims to end drought emergency responses by 2022 and to set up new structures to address droughts proactively, including the promotion of landscape restoration.
We give relief food aid to the population as a result of the drought. We are actually targeting 22,222 households. Many of them have lost a lot of their livestock.
Locals are now aware that well-managed vegetation rejuvenates the hydrological cycle and recharges the aquifers below. And who is to say that pastoralists can't plant trees and be their guardians?
Ore tenkop nemeeta irkeek nemelasima duo esheti nkaratin pookin.
So, and I think the solution here is to plant grass and trees so that it can stop the speed of water.
Kiara na yolo ko loli video kai ko no e ko muro lo ko loli dige ke se ge ya wa ne ni de ma ke mere lo
Oro hinjere yo kiara ewuei neji arng'aru anaanye ng'asa ajo mebolokini nkishu pee kibolokita talameyu. Nee enelo ake sii nikigiruna nikiara woi nikimpanga metaa meeta ntokitin naaroro metaa ore nena kujit neeku eetae enkata naje edung'i niya yie naya nanu peetoni nkishu aadaare. Neeku kiata woi neji neebolokini nkishu nikiata olokololi oji mebolokini nkishu amu talameyu ebolokini.
An inspiring example of rotational grazing systems seeing success can be found back in Bolivia at the edge of Sajama National Park, despite the area's radical changes in weather patterns.
Y la nevada tampoco no dura y se nieva y rápido la nevada se derrite con el calor. En tiempo de verano, el pasto le protegemos con corral de alambreado cerrado, el pasto para que crezca. Después crece el pasto 3 meses, ya crece ya para invierno. Después alpacas les cerramos en ese corral y ya se alimenta de ahí en invierno. Para que descanse el vegetal, ¿no? Y otro lado sin mover, ¿no?
Nowhere else on Earth are trees growing at the altitudes as high as in Bolivia. On the country's tallest mountain, we find them above 5,000 meters. And if trees can grow up here, isn't there little room for doubt the country's lowlands were once densely forested? Before heavy grazing and fire-based land clearing altered the landscape, and with it, the climate.
Doña Naciana, ¿qué cree que se puede hacer en la cuenca para mejorar la situación actual?
Transcurso de años también nuestra organización también un poquito ha cambiado. Antes, claro, no estábamos más organizados. Ahora ya estamos, digamos, queriendo mejorar nuestra vegetación. Ahora pues queremos recuperar nuestra vegetación, digamos, queriendo, digamos, haciendo forestaciones, nuestros cerros, ya haciendo, ya, digamos, ya queremos forestar con especies nativas, después también ahí donde nuestros ríos abajos. Entonces queremos plantar plantitas para que haya árbol, ¿no? Porque el árbol también mantiene la humedad, ¿no? Aquí tenemos este atajadito que es muy importante para nosotros, ¿no? Para regar nuestras hortalizas, también para nuestros ganaditos, para todo, ¿no? Y hemos hecho pues con cosecha de agua. Con eso hemos detenido este atajadito, por eso tenemos aquí agua.
Cuando uno hace un proceso de forestación, ahí lo que hace la norma comunal es indicar de que se debe evitar que el ganado entre, ¿no? Se norma que las personas que invadan con el ganado van a pagar una multa, ¿no? Van a tener que resarcir con trabajo, ¿no?
In South Africa, a group of researchers from the United Nations University are visiting to conduct a drought risk assessment and to find out what lessons can be learned from one of the country's worst droughts in recent decades.
Yabona apha ke into esibetha kakhulu zimvula. Ngoba lokho ekulimeni funeka kubekho imvula. Kuzala amadama, kuzale nemilambo. Nxa ndiyibona ngoku, uyabona imvula ngoku. Phaya ekukhuleni, ngexesha besikhula, imvula zaziqhaphakile. Ngexesha besikhula, sakhula ke kulinywa. Imvula ibinganqabanga. Zizinto ezibalulekileyo ke endicinga into yokuba singancedwa siqhotyiswe kanti nezixhobo ezosebenza ngoba kunzima uzithenga amagaba, iifolokhwe, izipeyidi, iharika. Zizinto ezibalulekileyo neekiriva ezi.
Things look different when you have inherited more land, when you are the owner of a private dam, when you have the capacities to diversify your production to cope with a lasting drought.
The drought years are probably the most difficult things I've ever had to overcome.
I think we've got to become water wise. I think we've got to maximize the output with a given water input. We specifically have to focus on value adding. I think the days of just producing and giving away your product are gone.
There's no crystal ball that'll tell us what's going to happen tomorrow. If we could read tomorrow's newspaper today, we would all be very happy people. But technology certainly can give us warning signs. If there was a cure for a drought, I'm sure it would be greatly appreciated, but unfortunately, we're at the mercy of the good Lord.
Yeah, I don't think there'll ever be a cure for drought per se.
No.
But I certainly think if you can get enough information and warning signs, then you can try and mitigate the risk that you're going to have.
If you could just lessen your impact.
Yeah, I mean, and that mitigation of risk isn't necessarily planting less, but it's changing your practices to lower rainfall. Yeah. The drought creates opportunities. I mean,
taught us to value add.
Yeah, taught us to value add.
Taught us to utilize our moisture better. Yeah. Taught us to be more effective on our inputs. Taught us to be more lean in our cost structures.
And what you can get away with
and
what you can't.
What you can get away with and what you can't.
What we see in the country is that your small scale and your communal farmers experience a normal dry period as a drought because of the lack of capacity to deal with it, whereas most of the commercial farmers can deal with it.
In order to have environmental justice, you really need to look at the distribution of water, the ownership of dams, private dams. And a big example is in the Western Cape, where day zero was almost upon them, and then they appealed to farmers to release water into this water system. And day zero was delayed by 30 days. So you have a fairly large amounts or quantities of water in private dams, which we would need to relook at if we want to have environmental justice.
Cape Town is running out of water.
The worst drought on
The
record.
reservoir is down to just 10%
It's not
of
a
its
fantasy
capacity.
apocalypse movie landscape. It's now, and it's real.
Becoming the world's first city to turn off the taps.
Everyone in Cape Town could be left without water.
Day zero, the day Cape Town would run dry.
In the 1920s and 1930s, the Western Cape, and Cape Town in particular, experienced a similar drought. But where then lived only a few thousand people, now there are 4.5 million. Lessons were learned the hard way when in 2018, Cape Town became the first major global city to nearly run out of water. The country had two choices: ignore warnings, underinvest and pretend that the rain will fall, or pull together before the taps run dry. Understanding risks and building capacities ahead of a crisis are key to reducing the effects of a drought. In response to this event, monitoring and analyzing oncoming droughts through remote sensing is now a core component of risk reduction. The coordination in national and provincial disaster risk management centers crucially connects various sectors and affected provinces.
Some of the challenges that we're experiencing revolve particularly around the coordination of those particular sector departments.
Water users, such as your farmers, are being thoroughly regulated, because you may find that you give them a particular percentage of water to be used in a day, but if they're not monitored, they may use more water than what they are allocated for.
You know, with the drought, it's not just the drought, it's not just the fact that towns don't have water, it's the knock-on effect that will eventually happen in agriculture. I mean, we've already lost 35,000 jobs in agriculture. Then, you know, what happens to those people? They become jobless. You know, there's a humanitarian problem that then starts happening. There's clearly a crime situation that might develop.
What is critical is that when we do planning, we need to look into climate change adaptation strategies and make sure that we communicate that to the various sectors to ensure that we have sustainable water provision within our province.
What we experience here is that a lot of data and a lot of information is available, but still it's mostly covering biophysical indicators with regard to drought. But the real impact is not driven directly by the biophysical hazard characteristics, but also by exposure and vulnerability.
South Africa, through its Water Act, one of the most comprehensive in the world, ensures basic provision of water to every citizen and illustrates how supply, distribution and usage require a new, proactive management approach.
We as a country need to rethink how we are going to tackle the future in terms of dealing with drought, because otherwise we will be in a state of disaster every second year if we do not change the way we plan.
On a different scale in Bolivia, a new mobile phone app is seeing farmers take to their phones to preemptively deal with droughts right on the farm level.
Hola, don Mario. ¿Cómo estás, don Mario? Una consulta, don Mario. ¿Cómo va a ser cómo ha visto el pronóstico para hoy día, don Mario? Ya, tus indicadores. Adelantado va a ser las lluvias.
Sí.
Listo, gracias. Ya. Gracias, maestro. Wonder Underground es una de las que te provee información de pronóstico para un sector más localizado. Esta tecnología lo está orientando justamente a que el productor tome mejor decisión, pueda pronosticar, pero lo más importante, nosotros no le estamos sugiriendo nada, sino que él analiza los datos y se fortalece, y con eso puede desarrollar mejores decisiones en su actividad agrícola. Y gracias a esta herramienta ellos han empezado a mejorar el manejo, ¿no? Y también ver el tema de mercado. Este acceso a información ayuda a que mejore su resiliencia del productor ante eventos extremos. O para hacer chuño tunta también, cuando es bien frío, igual, ¿no? Estos días va a caer helada. Para eso es
Bolivia provides another example of what can be achieved when farmers employ agroforestry. Like the pastoralists in Kenya, farmers here are now motivated to improve microclimatic conditions and increase farm productivity, and they're turning to trees for answers.
Zuai como porque sindicato OTBs na monco chay waking nas forestales man planta tiang ne mohtenga no gai kure mana na plantas teman chora ko yuja mana nastos na igu chare chay forestales man apa monco ancha te obligatorio planta ex sindicato planta igu poner.
Pues ya queremos manejar más poco más mejor. Entonces nosotros también ya hemos pensado un poco, sí, ahora ya con el cambio climáticos ha cambiado un poco.
Igual que sachitas para tu wahelante, para man sachits kahtenga mana para mulang manta chare, sachits kanchaire, te sachitas para wahelanta, jay, como si tuya pon esto que changas pets.
Ya queremos cambiar, ya no como antes manejábamos antes, así que las sequías nomás por la tierra, nosotros queremos mejorar, eso queremos cambiar mediante por canales, tubería o aspersión, ¿no? Con eso ya un poco ya podemos mejorar. Entonces para eso nosotros también invertimos nuestro capital. Todo lo que sembramos da nomás. Casi mayor parte todo da.
Of the Earth's total water, 97% is salt water and only 3% is fresh. Only 1% of all water on this planet is readily accessible for human use. Where there is no water, there is no life. According to the United Nations, by 2030, almost half of humanity will be living in areas of high water stress. As long as our industries remain dependent on fossil fuels, the cutting of old-growth forests continues and the global economic system still worships growth, man-made droughts will continue to be one of the most threatening outcomes. We need system change, not climate change. When we look at the sky, when we hear the wind, when we feel the rain, we should not also feel it was affected by us.
The intensity, duration and spatial extent of droughts are increasing. In the last 2 years only, 25 countries have declared national emergency as a result of drought. Recent scientific evidence also suggests that droughts have a cascading, spiraling impacts on other sectors. It's implicating also civil unrest, conflict and enforced migration.
Well, we have to acknowledge that it's no longer nature that is driving global change, but it's humans. That's why we're talking of the Anthropocene as a new era in global change, where nature has ceased to be nature. The variation in rainfall is just one aspect of drought. What makes it a disaster is the way how it affects, how it interferes with societies.
We need to move from responding to crises toward being proactive and managing risks by using the latest technology and early warning systems for the dissemination of knowledge and alerts, coordinating across institutions, connecting all relevant sectors, understanding the implications of inaction for forced migration, security, and violent conflict, restoring ecological systems along with microclimatic conditions that rebuild water security while sequestering carbon in biomass and soil organic matter, helping to restore the Earth's climate. Investing into sustainable forms of irrigation and water provision that is fair to everyone. Putting those living directly off the land at the center of our efforts. Creating a clear vision of what we need to do next to protecting the living planet that sustains us. Restarting our ability to imagine what a different future will need to be.
Nikiun orkujita neranito kidolaki kiponu atem aun apare peeku naa nkujit emetabai yokitu nikiyoki adung'o nkishu minasata likae meyioloro.
Contamos con políticas públicas como el Plan Nacional de Cuencas, como el Plan de Atención a la Sequía que estamos desarrollando en los últimos meses.
If you want to live from planting trees, it is possible, and you can be very successful as a farmer, as a family, as a community.
La mejor herencia es el suelo y el agua para las futuras generaciones, ¿no?
The threat is not so much the natural phenomenon. It is how we deal with it.
En eso estamos queriendo trabajar, queriendo mejorar, ¿no?, el tiempo y más que todo queremos forestar. Eso para recuperar, ¿no?, la vegetación. Y eso queremos hacer.